Welcome back, everyone, and this is my final Shayne and Aurox review video. Turned it into a 4-part series, and this one is what I did with Thorn of how I would change this character. And before I get into this, I want to encourage you guys to share this video right off the bat and not at the end of it, because this is going to be the one about fixing and changing things. I think Shayne and Aurox is fantastic, are fantastic, they're kind of two, but there are always things that can get better to make him a more well-rounded character and to make sure that every level we have honest choices. And right now it's not quite there. And every character is going to be like that. There's always a little things that can be improved. And, well, Gearbox is going to focus on fixing the big things like Galilea. They're not necessarily going to find these things or notice these things as much. So the more we can share these things, I think the better the game can be as a community. I realize I'm not getting a ton of views on my Battleborn video because I switched from Borderlands to Battleborn and I'm kind of building that audience, but I really encourage everyone to share these videos that I do more than any others. So that out of the way. Shayne and Aurox, I think, as a basic character is brilliant. Jack of all trades, as I said in my first video with them. I think the passive works really good, be able to get away when you need to. I think the weapon, the boomerang, all fantastic. Stealth Strike, I was kind of iffy on it at first, but now that I've learned to play them, I think Stealth Strike is fantastic. I think the damage on Stealth Strike and Fetch are both okay because of the utility of them, and because Shayne and Auroch's regular attacks have some of the higher DPS out of a lot of the characters. And that makes sense when their skills are more utility, your base attack should be a little higher. However, I think the ultimate is on the weak side. 418 damage over 5 seconds isn't a ton, and you do have the knocked into the air. Maybe that's why it's a little bit less. And I guess that kind of makes sense, but I'm going to back into some other characters here. So, Thorn, you have 500 damage, and there's a little animation. When you throw it, that 500 damage just hits everything in that area. It's not DOT. Arendi, same thing, 500 damage, a bit of an animation, but once it hits everything in that range. Oscar Mike here, 13 guided missiles, each doing 250, is a lot more damage. Phoebe, 167, damage 4 or 5 seconds is also more. So you can see a lot of these people are just doing a lot more damage on their ultimate. And also, with the ultimate, like I mentioned, a lot of characters just run through it. And the animation to start it is so long, and then they get out of it. You're not that often knocking them into the air unless you pick that tier 10 helix. So for 5 levels, the ultimate, I think, is a bit underpowered. A few ways to fix this. Either slightly up the damage, or delay the quicken the animation so the animation doesn't take too long, or just add slow to it, or add slow or the pull to it just automatically. And I'll get to that in that level 10, but I think this needs work. So onto the helix. On helix tier 1, the overshield is a better choice 8 times out of 10, maybe even 9 times. The aura of annoyance is only really better in... And it's not even better. It only really has a use in normal mode, and maybe the experience on advanced, just because that spider tank, its missile barrage can easily be shut down with this. That's about it. And it's because the damage on it is really low. So they basically just need to up the damage of it. And I don't know if it should be doubled. I mean, 201 over 5 seconds sounds like a decent amount, but it just does ticks of 21 and you barely notice it. It might be bugged now that I think about it, because if each tick is on a second, which I'm not sure if it is, they would be a different amount. So even when they're doing ticks for 21, if there's 2 a second, it'd be 210 damage over 5 seconds. So I'm not entirely sure how that's actually working. But I don't think it's doing what it should be, and it needs to be doing some more damage. On this one, this is a pretty good tier. Slow's going to win out in PvP, but you don't always need slow in story, so that 25% damage can be quite nice. It would be nice if that 25% damage was for like 2 seconds or something, not just on the first attack, but it's not a bad tier. This one, the boomerang bounce is awesome, but if you're doing like capture mode, you really don't need that, so then the shield recharge per second's definitely better. Or the increase on melee attacks, so I think this is a good tier. Holding it down, part of me kind of wishes you could fetch and stun, but that might be broken. So, that's good. Pulling all the enemies is often better in story because you don't need to stun that much in story. But shield steal is also very awesome. Adds more kind of damage to it and gives you more survival. So, 3 good choices here. This one, I think the fleet-footed, the don't stop running needs to be tweaked. Because the Immortal Aegeus is so good. I don't see many people taking don't stop running. Between the stealth strike where you can get away with that and you can get a stun, and there's so many ways to get away with Shayne and Aurox, and you already have fleet-footed for, I forget how long it is. 2 seconds, so you go up to 3.5. I don't know. Maybe if they would just do it to a flat 2 to double it, but I don't know if that would compare. Yeah, I don't know how good they would have to do that. But I think this tier needs to be tweaked a little bit, because it doesn't seem like a real choice here. Let me know if I'm wrong, if you guys disagree. We're all kind of new to this game, so I could be missing something. The next tier here, this one, I wish that damage reduction was a little, well, no, this is pretty good. Because a lot of times when you go to stealth strike, it's to escape, and you don't always need shield penetration, but when you get it, it's pretty good. When Shayne and Aurox hit, they usually hit pretty hard, so you rip through those shields pretty quick. And fetch doesn't do much damage, so yeah, I kind of actually like sneaky a little bit better right now, but I think this whole tier is a little bit on the weak side. 20% damage reduction isn't that much. You could use a little bit more, and fetch does so little damage that shield penetration on fetch isn't that good. If it was shield penetration for 2 seconds after you fetched an enemy, that would be cool. Even if it was lower shield penetration, because that would be more powerful. But it's just fetch doing so little damage that 60% shield penetration isn't the greatest. This tier, I really like this tier a lot. I think this is incredibly well balanced, and I wouldn't touch it. Because the health regen, when the shield is broken, really kind of helps your survival. But upping that boomerang damage, especially on your range game, can do crazy things. Even more so when you have boomerang bounce. And then just adding to your shield strength really makes you more tanky. So yeah, this is a great tier. Next tier here. This one's pretty solid too, because sometimes increasing your duration is better for getting away. Increasing the area of effect if you are playing story mode, and if they would make Aura of Annoyance really better, that would be really awesome. The duration could help with that too. But just helping that final impact, getting some more damage out of it, and that AoE can really help. So pretty good choices there. Sadly enough, this is another good tier. Well, good enough on Gearbox's part. Another great tier. Cooldown or damage or speed of the fetch, all good choices. Here's the big one. Fetch, not fetch, to make the ultimate work for Shayne and Aurox, you almost have to go with the right. Because you get a draw and it slows them. And that keeps them in there so they actually take that full damage, because it doesn't have the best damage out of ultimates on it. You really need to make sure you hit them for all you can. And this adds a lot of control to them. So you start off with a pull, then a slow, and then a knock-up. It works really well for making that ultimate really ultimate. The tag team, the shield steal in theory is really great, but the problem is enemies can leave the ultimate so easily, and the animation takes so long to do it that a lot of times enemies are gone before it goes off. Once again, it's not a real choice. So I wish the pull was just part of the ultimate, and then you take that off of beckons. You keep the slow on beckons, and then you have slow versus shield steal, and then that's kind of a choice there. But as it stands, you already have so many ways to help your shield with Shayne and Aurox, and then it's on their legendary gear as well. But the ultimate is really stuck with. You almost need that right one to make the ultimate really work. And yeah. So let me know what you guys think. And again, please share this video, because Gearbox is willing to make changes to the helix trees. Where they're very hesitant to make changes to skills in Borderlands 2, and it took them a long time to get fixes on those. They're being really active about changing the helixes in this game, so it would be nice to encourage them to do that. So the big ones are Aura of Annoyance, Aurox Hungers. The other ones are all kind of minor. Once again, I think tier 6, the entire tier could just get a little bit of a buff. That's not the end of the world. And then Don't Stop Running, I think, should be a little bit better. But most of the rest of it is pretty solid. And even though I said a little bit about Surprise Party, it's not bad. So that is it for this video. Once again, please share. If you guys have not subscribed yet, please do that. Follow me on Twitter. All my Twitter, Discord, Steam group, all that is below in the description. I also remember Left Strafe did a really good video the other day about talking to Gearbox. Instead of like yelling and screaming, they listen to rational discussions and reasoning. So let's use that stuff. Thank you once again, and I will see you all later. Bye.